Joining us on the line is Jerry Sonnenberg. Jerry is running for Congressional District 4 here in Colorado. Born in Sterling, Colorado, and graduated from Sterling High School. He attended Northeastern Junior College. Sonnenberg worked as a cattle rancher on his family's farm as a child and broke out on his own in 1979. He served on the Colorado Farm Bureau Board of Directors before being elected to the Colorado House of Representatives from the 65th District. At the time of his election in 2006, Sonnenberg was the only farmer and rancher in the Colorado House. In 2014, Sonnenberg was elected to the Colorado State Senate. In the Senate, Sonnenberg served as chairman of the Agricultural, Natural Resources and Energy Committee and vice chair of the Military and Veterans Affairs Committee. In 2016, Sonnenberg was selected to serve as president pro tempore of the Senate. Jerry, thanks so much for being on the program.
Gosh, you make me sound pretty good. It's always my pleasure to be on. How are you today?
How is it up where you are? You guys getting a bunch of snow?
Well, actually, I flew in last night, and I'm in Denver. I'm currently a county commissioner as well in Logan County, and we have some commissioner meetings today in Denver, today and tomorrow. So I haven't made it home yet. So I understand it's not supposed to be much. We got a little rain, a lot of rain, but that's all right. You guys can have this snow, and then it'll melt. Go down the South Platte, we can store it, and then we can use it later on. We call that augmentation snow.
I forgot, my apologies. Yes, following a 16-year legislative career in the state capitol, he's now farming, but also serves as a member of the Logan County County Commissioners. So, Jerry, explain to people why you would be best to represent them from Congressional District 4 to Washington, D.C.?
Well, and that's a great question because we have some good candidates in a large field. I think I'm the best because of that leadership and experience that I gained while I was in the legislature to be able to figure out how to solve problems, build coalitions, and still maintain my conservative principles. And I think it's important that we have somebody with deep roots. I actually live in the same house that I was born in and that my father was raised in. I raised my children there. I'm on a farm that's been in the family over 100 years. So I have those deep roots in the communities. The community knows me. The Eastern Plains knows me, and I know them. I know the issues. I've been part of those issues, worked on those issues, and actually understand those issues, whether it be small business, where it be parental rights with regard to education, because as you know, education issues in Douglas County are much different than places like a Rickery or Genoa Hugo and those type of places. So I think I'm well versed to be able to hit the ground running, especially with the news this week, that I can go there and make a difference right away. And I'm one of the few that can.
Let's talk about the news this week because Ken Buck kind of surprised everybody on Tuesday by saying he's going to resign next week. I believe it's March 22nd, so the end of next week. He's going to be done. Originally, he was going to retire, not run for re-election, which would have carried him all the way through November. He's done now, and that's going to force a special election in June, right at the same time that there would have traditionally been a primary for this seat. How does this change the race this year? Your approach? Are you working to get the nomination from the CD4 Central Committee to be the Republican nominee for that special election?
Indeed, I am. I am working hard to earn their support. And quite honestly, though, that doesn't change my campaign because I was working hard to get their support for the assembly anyhow. So traveling to each of the counties, visiting with leadership there, visiting with other people in the counties, it doesn't really change anything for me. I've continued to work that aspect and will continue to have those conversations and meet with those folks and listen to what their issues are and see how I can be helpful to them. So it doesn't change; it just kind of accelerates it a little.
Do we know when the CD4 Central Committee is going to make their decision?
I have not heard yet. It has to happen between 10 and 20 days from
The
vacancy or the announcement, I believe.
Okay. Gotcha. So in the next 2 weeks or so, we should be hearing that. Now, Lauren Boebert has decided she's not going to seek that. Part of the complication is if she was to run in that special election, she would have to resign early her seat in Congressional District 3. But Lauren Boebert, according to one poll, is leading in this race. She has a money advantage. Why are you better fit for this seat than Lauren Boebert?
Well, and I don't know what poll you're seeing, but there was a poll done, commissioned by somebody, that left Ted Harvey and myself out of that poll. So she's touting the poll that she's winning by 25 points, but doesn't have everybody in the race. So I don't know if she put that poll out there or what the issue is, because our polling shows it's much closer than that. And our polling also shows that she couldn't win a vacancy. Our polling shows she has 25-30% of support in the district. And when people actually understand the issues she is up against, whether it's her personal issues or that she actually doesn't understand or know the district, and maybe commuting back and forth, not really living in the district, that diminishes. So I think her campaign has looked, I'm guessing, and said, look, you may not win that. That may not be a good avenue for you. There are obviously other factors involved, whether, with her happening to resign to run in this. So yeah, it becomes a challenge for her campaign. What I'll tell you is that we have some good candidates over here that actually live in the district in the 4th and can make a difference. And I think that's what the people of this district are looking for.
We're talking with Jerry Sonnenberg. He has a storied career in Colorado. He served in the state house. He served in the state senate. He served as a member of the Colorado Farm Bureau Board of Directors and as a county commissioner in Logan County. What's your response to the fact that Lauren did get the endorsement from Donald Trump?
From my perspective, quite frankly, that's nice, good for her. But the fact of the matter is, I care more about the endorsement of the voters in the 4th district. I've got some pretty good endorsements myself that I can tout. Senator Cory Gardner, Senator Hank Brown, Senator Wayne Allard, who all served in the 4th Congressional District before they became U.S. senators. Also very proud of the endorsements I have up and down the Eastern Plains, whether it's county commissioners, all in a number of the counties in the Eastern Plains, law enforcement, local businessmen. But the fact of the matter is, the people that I care about, the endorsement that I work to get, are those voters, those that are in the Republican Central Committee, those that are actually just hardworking people with dirt underneath their fingernails.
Talk a little bit about your ranch. I'd love to know more about that. This was a ranch you grew up on. What kind of stuff did you all ranch out there?
Actually, we have both a farm and a ranch. We raise corn and wheat and millet and hay, and we use the farm to actually vertically integrate into our small feedlot. We run somewhere between 250 to 300 mama cows, and then we run a couple hundred yearlings each year. As I said, we have a small feedlot as well. And I'm very blessed to have 2 boys that wanted to stay on the farm and the ranch. One of the boys runs the farming side and the trucks. The other boy runs the ranching side and the feedlot. And their families are involved, and it's exciting. They're the 5th generation, the 6th generation, the one I'm most proud of. Don't tell my kids that, but I have 10 grandkids, and many of them are out on the farm and actively involved. And I'm just I am truly blessed to have a great family farming and ranching opportunity and operation.
God, that's amazing. I have a real soft spot in my heart for the farming and ranching community in Colorado. I have really good friends of the family, and I understand at my core how important it is to the fabric of what Colorado is. Jeff and Bill talking to Jerry Sonnenberg, running for Congressional District 4, has announced that he is going to be seeking the special election position and to run in that one. So I want to talk to you, Mr. Sonnenberg. You've been there a long time in the district. What have you seen change in the district, and how has that changed the representation that the district needs? And why are you then best suited, in your opinion, to be there? What have you seen that has grown and changed, and why does it take someone like you, in your opinion, to be the representation in that district?
Well, I think one of the things that has changed most in the district is we have seen government step in and try to. Well, I don't know what they were trying to do. I think they were trying to be helpful, but as you know, as we all know, when government steps in, it usually does more damage than it does good. Uh, some of those issues that I worked on when I was in the legislature was we were dealing with water quality and air quality, water quality issues where all of a sudden our local government or the state government goes down to these small communities like Isla or Sugar City and say, I know you've been drinking this water for years, but we've changed our standards, and now you have to do all of these things to fix the water. And you take communities that have a small number of people, like Isla, for example, and you saddle them with $1 million or $2 million bill to try and meet these new regulations. You have to try and figure out how to navigate that. And so it became a challenge for them. And even Sterling, which is a larger community out there in my home community, that they changed the levels in which they decided when water was safe and when it's not safe. It didn't change anything. It's the same water they've been using for 100 years, but then all of a sudden they have to spend $30-some million to mitigate that. Those are issues that have become challenging for communities. And then you look at agriculture. You remember when they made it more difficult for agriculture to utilize pesticides, made it more difficult for them to get fertilizer. And many of the farmers and ranchers along the border went across the state lines where it was easier to get get those products, and then made it impossible for our businesses within the state to do business. They would lose that business. Those are things that government has. We have seen more of government try to do, and now in the current legislative session, all of the things they're trying to do with regard to trucks. And how we move our food to the front range and our products to the front range so they have food and energy and the fiber. We can look at the pesticides issues that they're trying to deal with in the state legislature to, again, make it more difficult for us to do business. And I don't know if you know this or not, but it's a fascinating story. Years ago, I used to, out at the Farm and Ranch, I used to be a weather station for the National Weather Service. So I would read the weather every day and report what that weather was, rainfall and all. And we have data that goes back into the 1800s where we read that. If you remember, 2000 to 2010 was dry. And it was hot. And it was actually drier and hotter than it was in the 1930s when we had the Dust Bowl days. But why didn't we have the Dust Bowl days between 2000 and 2010? Because agriculture, without government telling them, found ways to take care of the land better, to conserve and use pesticides or herbicides, and were able to protect the ground from erosion. And people up here along the Front Range struggle with understanding how that works and how farmers and ranchers like myself that have been out there for 100 years. Well, I haven't been for 100 years. Some may think so, but been on that farm for 100 years, leave it better every year, or strive to leave it better every year than it was the year before.
We're talking with Jerry Sonnenberg. Jerry is running for Congressional District 4. Jerry, the district has changed as a result of the redistricting that took place after the latest census, and you definitely have a strong connection with rural Colorado. How are you going to serve Douglas County more suburban districts?
And that's a great question. And I will tell you that I actually, even though they couldn't vote for me, I voted for them when I was in the legislature. I did things to help small business. I did things to help families with education. I actually was the guy that ran the bill that increased or decrease the bottleneck on I-25 and that expansion between Denver and Colorado Springs, made highway transportation or funding a priority. Those are things that I did while I was in the legislature that not only helps Douglas County and the Eastern Plains, but all of Colorado. And that has always been my mission as a legislator.
I want to talk John Caldera in 2017. The Independence Institute gave you the Californian of the Year award. They said for destroying Tabor and denying Coloradans a vote on taxes. Have you and John been able to mend fences and work together since then?
Absolutely. As you know, John and I teamed up. I'm big on tax cuts. I ran tax cut legislation, and when those were killed, John and I would team up, and we ran ballot initiatives in 2020 to reduce your income tax, and then again in 2022 reduce your income tax even more. So John and I have worked. We've come to an understanding that we were in a legislature that they were going to shut down hospitals, and that was unacceptable for us in rural Colorado, and so the Joint Budget Committee, who was taking away your $50 refund that you were supposed to get that year, I took that tool away from them, from the Joint Budget Committee, so they could not balance the budget on the backs of hospitals. And in that process, did some things to help with the Republican issues, such as highway transportation or transportation funding, business personal property tax exemption, Medicaid reform, some of those things. But yes, that was a challenge, and we have worked through that, and John and I have partnered since then to reduce your income tax.
We're talking with Jerry Sonnenberg, running for Congressional District 4 here in Colorado. We're going to do a few rapid fire questions here. We've done these for the other candidates as well. Would you support a federal ban on abortion?
Yes, I would.
Would you support mass deportation of illegal immigrants?
Yes, I would.
Would you have supported the impeachment of Mayorkas? A little different than the person that currently holds that seat.
Yes, I would.
Great. And then final one, would you have supported Ken Buck's effort to invoke Amendment 25 and encourage the cabinet to remove Joe Biden from office for his incapacity?
Sure, I would have done that. It obviously isn't going to go anywhere, but I would have supported that. Absolutely.
Great. Well, we've been talking with Jerry Sonnenberg. His website's sonnenbergforcongress.com. His last name's spelled Sonnenberg, Sonnenberg, Sonnenberg for Congress. As I mentioned before, a storied career here in Colorado, everything from Colorado's Farm Bureau, Board of Directors to State House, State Senate, County Commissioner. He's a rancher on the Eastern Plains of Colorado, and he's seeking your vote. So get a chance to know him, and you can watch all of these interviews on our YouTube channel if you go to 710 KNUS, so you can be informed. He's also seeking to be the Republican nominee in that special election. So it's a little confusing, but he may end up on a few different ballots here. So you'll have the chance to vote for him. Jerry, I really appreciate you being on the Jeff and Bill show today.
It's always my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity, and have a wonderful rest of the day in this beautiful snow-filled Front Range.
Only a rancher would love all this water that's coming.
That's great.
Thank you, Jerry. I sure appreciate it.
Jeff and Bill, weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on News Talk 710, KNUS.